Quick, how do you say an orange in Spanish? Most of you may not know how to say this unless you already speak Spanish pretty well, and that's okay. But if I instead put three options on the screen, you probably would immediately recognize una naranja as being the correct answer from among those options. And you might walk away from the experience with the false confidence that I just learned how to say orange in Spanish, thinking that you will remember how to say that the next time it comes up in conversation. I'd call BS. The truth is that the only way we could really solidify a memory is when we actively recall it from scratch without any prompts or multiple choice. Recognition is not learning. This may sound intuitive, but the way that you might be studying, rereading your notes, highlighting passages, listening to the lecture again, even taking multiple choice practice tests, is just as passive as that exercise that I just showed you, and those facts won't be sticking in your brain unless your studying involves active recall instead of just recognition. I'm Andrew with Brainscape, an adaptive mobile study platform that is based on the very practice of active recall, among other important learning principles. And we know that even if something has just been presented holistically, right? We saw a picture of an orange, we saw the Spanish text on the screen, we heard the word spoken. If I ask you again, how do you say an orange in Spanish? You might have already forgotten it by now, less than a second later. It's una naranja. Let's say it again together. How do you say an orange in Spanish? Really think about it. It's una naranja. This time, you tried to retrieve it from scratch, from recent memory, without just recognizing it on the screen. You practiced active recall. If you continued to study this word using spaced repetition, maybe actively recalling it again in a minute, and then again in 5 minutes, then again in a half hour, you'll actually build stronger neuron connections that last for much longer. The problem is that it is totally impractical to have to remember to study every word and concept in exactly the right expanding interval of time, or at least it was impractical. Because now there are magical spaced repetition apps like Brainscape where all you have to do is tap a button and the app knows exactly what concept to ask you at the right time. And look at that. Brainscape is asking me how to say an orange in Spanish because it knew that that was a fresh, new concept that I might soon forget. And so, using active recall, I retrieved the right answer right there in my brain. It's una naranja. And then I rate my own confidence in how likely I would be to remember that forever. This time, I might upgrade myself to a 2 out of 5, meaning I'll still see it again soon, just not in the next minute. As I keep going through my flashcards, Brainscape keeps repeating concepts that are just at the edge of being forgotten, so that I'm constantly attacking my weaknesses and optimizing my studying. Brainscape also makes it convenient for you to use active recall and spaced repetition in bite-sized study sessions spread throughout your day, which is the best way to plan your study obligations. Of course, it might not always be practical to be using your phone or computer all the time. Sometimes you're driving, sometimes you're walking or cooking, but you feel like you're missing valuable study time. And this is where another important active recall technique comes in, where all you need is your brain. And that's the Feynman technique. We're kind of obsessed with this at Brainscape. We have a whole nother video and article about this over at the Brainscape Academy. But in a nutshell, the Feynman technique is pretending that you're teaching the whole concept to somebody else as simply as possible. This is best used when you're already like 70% confident in the material, enough that you can plausibly teach someone the basics by just recalling everything you can in your brain from scratch. For example, let's say you were imagining that you're taking your baby brother to his first fruit stand and explaining him what each fruit is. You might start by introducing him to grapes and then pineapples, and eventually you're gonna come to oranges. And by actively recalling that word naranjas from scratch, from your imagination and not just seeing an orange first in a quiz, that new word for orange in Spanish will stick in your brain finally. Compounded across hundreds or thousands of concepts, the combination of active recall with adaptive flashcards, plus active recall with the Feynman technique once you're almost fully mastered, will help you learn significantly more content with less overall study time, just spread out over a longer period. If you like this advice, please remember to subscribe, check out the Brainscape Academy for more great learning tips, and of course, Brainscape itself, the world's best free web and mobile flashcard app that makes active recall and spaced repetition as efficient as humanly possible. With the right tools and mindset, I'm confident that you will be able to rise to any challenge.